good afternoon. I'm Raylene Ramsey. This is your afternoon news fix for Friday, the 31st of May. A decision's been delayed on whether to release convicted double murderer Scott Watson on parole. He was jailed for life with a minimum non-parole of 17 years, found guilty of killing Olivia Hope and Ben Smart in 1998. Emily Ansell has more.
Watson's hearing was adjourned today after the parole board questioned why psychological report findings on the risk of reoffending changed over 3 years from high to medium to low. A new hearing date's yet to be set when psychologists who wrote the reports are available to respond to parole board questions on risk assessment.
The Prime Minister is promising to advocate strongly for New Zealand over 501 deportees. Australia's PM's been pressured to scrap a law change, that is, mitigating Kiwi-born Australian criminals being deported to New Zealand. Albanese had promised a common-sense approach, but has now confirmed a directive prioritising community protection. Chris Luxon says he spoke with Anthony Albanese yesterday.
We have great concern about that decision because we don't think that people who actually have very little attachment to this country and have strong connections to Australia should be deported here.
After hours of opposition questioning the government over tax relief legislation in the House, the third reading has finally begun under urgency. The government is pushing through the budget measures to lift personal income tax brackets, giving earners between $4 and $40 more take-home pay a fortnight. Lower income families can apply for Family Boost online to partially reimburse childcare fees. Labour Taieri MP Ingrid Leary claims the boost isn't the fix it appears to be because some will struggle to apply online.
People who do not have internet connections because they have an average annual income of $26,000 a year, how on earth does this serve them?
Labour leader Chris Hipkins denies the opposition has been filibustering to slow the legislation. Greens and Labour MPs have been questioning the government for hours. Hipkins says most of the legislation passed has been under urgency and isn't getting proper scrutiny.
MPs using their time in the House to ask questions of the government that they would normally be able to ask if it went through a proper democratic process is really important.
2 sites rejected by Auckland Council for a new city stadium were already in use. The council will consider the options of maintaining the status quo, upgrading Eden Park or building a new venue on the waterfront after the bidders complete a feasibility study. Working Group Chair Shane Henderson says the other 2 options had existing functions.
The Sunken Stadium on Bledisloe Wharf, that's an area where we already have a port operating and we've just passed a vote to increase the productivity there, which is more money for the ratepayer. In terms of Wynyard Point, we have a park there that has been long promised to the community.
Half a dozen migrants from Indonesia will be deported after overstaying visas, including one who stayed more than 10 years too long. The migrants all say they were in casual work. Immigration will investigate who employed them and issue fines or revoke permission to employ RSE workers. To sport, and Kiwi middleweight boxer Andrei Mikhailovic will take his shot at 2 world titles in Las Vegas in mid-June, fighting a Kazakh opponent for the IBF and WBO belts. The Dallas Mavericks will play the Boston Celtics in the NBA Finals after knocking out the Minnesota Timberwolves to win the Western Conference Series 4-1. And White Ferns wicketkeeper Bernadine Bezuidenhout has announced her retirement from international cricket. I'm Raylene Ramsey, and that is your latest news fix. We'll be back with the next update tomorrow morning from the Newstalk ZB newsroom.